Welcome to another episode of The Giant Leap. Today on the show, we have a lady who is not just a social media sensation, but successful entrepreneur who went from introvert with zero influence to building a seven-figure empire.
Alicia Fernandez, welcome to the show.
Oh, I love it. Thank you both so much for having me on your show. And, we were just saying in the green room behind the scenes how, proud I am of both of you that you're already, up to, multiple episodes. And so congratulations to both of you. I can commend you, especially as a partnership, as a couple. It is quite challenging talking and communicating, with two people. So I'm really, really excited to be on the show. I know you had my husband Lloyd on the show a few weeks ago. So thanks for having me on.
It is difficult working in couples actually, and that couplepreneurship or something. I don't know. I think the term's been coined, but you and Lloyd do that as well. So we'll look into that.
There wouldn't be anyone else that I'd like to work with.
No. What is it like working with Lloyd, working with your partner?
It's so just looking back on what we've been able to build together over the last 10 years and the lessons that we've been able to learn as a couple, both in business, but also married, it's just amazing that we've both stepped up in our strengths. And so I think when we initially started out in business, it was just like, we thought I had to do everything in the business, and then Lloyd had to do everything in the business. And so what naturally happened was I was gravitating towards certain things inside the business, and then he was gravitating towards other things. And so now we've just found this great balance of the things that I love to do in the business and what he loves to do. And so we're not stressed about having to learn these extra skills that I don't really get enjoyment from, or if he doesn't get enjoyment from. And so we definitely complement one another, which is so, I guess, special in a way. So yeah, it's just so much fun being in business with my husband, my best friend, my lover, because we get to go through the challenges together, but we also get to celebrate the wins. And so sometimes in an entrepreneurship journey, it can be quite lonely because you have all these successes and then you don't really have anyone to celebrate with, or you go through these challenges, or you want someone to just check a message for you to be like, does this, sound okay? Or does a social media post sound okay? And some people don't have that. And, I'm super grateful that I do have, my little business partner with me all the time at home to help me with that sort of stuff. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny when you imagine when you see people like these, the token man that has risen to the top and his partner's like a housewife and looked after the kids and stuff. I always just think, like, there's no way that I would like to do that, but I don't think I would be able to do that. Like, we fully complement each other as well. So
yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's also like, I feel like it's a partnership in a way. So even if someone is married to someone who doesn't really have that entrepreneurial, I guess, spirit, or they don't really want to build a business, but being at home, raising the kids, looking after the kids, doing the cooking, doing the cleaning, it helps the person build the empire, build the dream for everyone. And so it's definitely teamwork at the end of the day, no matter what you do.
Yeah, all the different jobs are teamwork, aren't they? So, whether you're the person who's just making sure that dinner's on the table for the other person who's doing all the, all of that, it's appreciated both ways. I think, if I'm out selling or doing something all day and I come home and the meal and my food's there, it's like, oh my God, I love it.
It's the best. And Lloyd and I, we have a joint calendar. So I always know when his meetings are on and he knows when my meetings are on. And so for us, that's just created so much ease when it comes to communication. Not only does he compliment me when my brows are done or my lashes are done because it's in the calendar that I've gone out to do that. So that's a win on his behalf.
Yeah, that's true.
I do look at his calendar, and if he has back-to-back meetings, Zoom calls, then I will cook lunch. I will prepare lunch for him. So I know that he's got this small little window. He can come out, eat, and then go back in. So yeah, it takes a village, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It does take a village. It's very true.
So in this podcast, we like to try and dissect what has made the guest successful, like what inside their head has given them the drive. So can we start off with you describing a little bit about your childhood?
My childhood, sure. Let's go back 36, nearly 37 years ago. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks. Cannot believe I'm turning 37, but that's another podcast episode. But very, very, very
Happy
quickly to
birthday.
thank you. To summarize, oh, I lost my blue light, but that's okay. To summarize the last 37 years, I was actually fortunate enough to be an expat. So I was born and raised in Dubai, and I lived there for about 19 years. So I did high school, I did primary school there, high school there, and then I moved to Australia to go to university. And so I was saying to Josh earlier, I loved, people ask me this all the time. They're like, what was it like growing up in Dubai? What was it like growing up in the Middle East? Was it very like, did you have to like cover up and things like that? It was far from it. So Dubai is very westernized, and I got to go to school with people from around the world. And so I grew up with so many different nationalities and cultures around me, which I feel is such a blessing. And then I've been living in Australia now for, you can do the math, 37 minus 19. What's that? 15, 16 years.
Don't make me do math on the top of my head. Yes, a few years.
A few years. And then yeah, I moved here for university, and I've stayed here ever since. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Did you have a link? Did you have a link to Australia before, or is it just with Lloyd? Because I believe like that your sisters like live in Australia now. Like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
Australia?
Yeah. So my older sister Tash, so basically in Dubai, when I was growing up in Dubai, universities weren't really established. So everyone would finish high school in Dubai, and then they would either go to the UK, America, or Australia to do university. And so Tash, my older sister, chose the Gold Coast. And so she moved here first. So like twice a year, we would fly from Dubai to come and visit her on holiday. And then my younger sister fell in love with the Gold Coast, and she was just like, I'm going to boarding school. So she volunteered, my younger sister. You should have her on your podcast, actually. She volunteered to be a boarder here on the Gold Coast. So she moved. And then I was the last one. I stayed in Dubai. And then I never wanted to move to the Gold Coast because I was a city girl. I was like, I want the lights, the action, the nightlife. And so I was like, I'm moving to Sydney. And then I went onto Google and I was like, universities in Sydney. And the first one that popped up was the University of Sydney. And I looked at it, looked like Hogwarts. And I was like, I'm going there. And I applied and got in. And so, yeah, I definitely had a connection to Australia. And it just so happened that I eventually got together with my now husband, Lloyd, in Dubai. And he's from the Gold Coast. Like since he was 2 years old, living on the Gold Coast, originally from Tamworth, a small country town. And so that connection is wild when you really think about it.
It's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Did you say your sister was a boarder on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, my sister was a boarder
In
on
Hilda's?
the Gold Coast. At St. Hilda's, Josh.
There you go.
So she actually did dance classes with Cal, who's Lloyd's younger brother, because he
that's so funny.
He also went to TSS, and
I
that's
remember
kind of
those dance classes. I was a boarder at TSS.
Yeah. So you understand about the St. Hilda's girls. My sister was a boarder. You need to have her on your podcast.
What did you do at university?
I did a Bachelor of Commerce. So which is like a Bachelor of Business. They just kind of made it sound fancy. But I finished high school and I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I don't know if anyone else listening can relate to that. And so my older sister, I still don't know. I'm like,
yeah, I still don't know.
And I think that's totally fine. It's just like explore what brings you joy. And so my older sister Tash, she did a Bachelor of Business at university. And so I secretly wanted to get my citizenship, my Australian citizenship, to become an Australian. And when I first started my university degree, getting a Bachelor of Commerce was actually on the skilled list. So if I got my degree, I'd be able to apply to get my citizenship here in Australia. But halfway through my degree, they changed the skills list and that became redundant. But I copied my sister because that's how she became a citizen of Australia. So I didn't really want to do a Bachelor of Business, but I did it so there was like this future goal. But anyways, that's what I ended up doing. And I finished it, even though I did not enjoy it. I'm kind of the person who was like, I need to finish this. And I did, graduated, got that very, very expensive piece of paper that, that I guess I'm proud of because I finished it.
Do you use it? Do you use the skills that you
I always share this story, and I feel like university to me allowed me to grow up because I was obviously living at home with my mum at the time my whole life. Like I lived with my parents until I was 19 years old, and then I flew across the world, lived on my own in this country that, you know, I'd only visited a couple of times a year. And it really allowed me to grow up and learn how to use a washing machine and a dishwasher and network and make friends. And so in a way, yes, I used my degree in that sense because I matured as an individual. And then I always share the story. My first ever corporate job, I was like, I've got this university degree, my first day on the job. And I remember my boss at the time was like, here's some papers. Can you go make a photocopy of this? And I remember standing at this big, giant photocopy machine. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to use this machine, but I have this amazing degree in business and I don't know how to use a photocopy machine. But it just shows you that, you know, you can have the fancy degrees, but being in the field and actually doing the do is where you do the learning the most, like the accelerated learning. Like, I feel like if you were to become a doctor, like there's certain fields that, yes, a university degree is a must because those are skills that you could actually kill people if you didn't know how to do them. But in terms of the business degree, Cacey, not really. In terms of like learning how to network and be an adult, really.
Yeah, I've got a degree in environmental science that is very much a similar story. So I completely.
Well, sometimes when you're out at the pub and there's trivia, there's a question or two that comes up,
and you're like, I know the answer. Yes,
I know it.
So Alicia, looking back, do you think you always have had a drive to be successful?
Yes, for sure. So both my parents are entrepreneurs. Both my parents have had very, very successful businesses in Dubai. And so I guess I grew up with watching them both build businesses, watch them go through the challenges, but then also watch them build something incredible. And so at school, I was very competitive when I played sports. So I played netball when I was at school and I represented Dubai. So it was just like all those little character traits. When I look back, I'm like, yeah, I am competitive. I am driven. And I think I was born with it, or I was able to watch my parents. Like both my parents were competitive golfers as well. So I guess I had that advantage of being growing up in that environment. So I would say yes, for sure.
So you have an idea of what success was. So back when you were younger, you have an idea of what success was. Was there any points where you thought that was out of reach, that you wouldn't get to what you thought success was?
Yeah, when I first started my Bachelor of Commerce degree. So when I was at high school, I was quite smart. So I got pretty good grades. I did GCSEs and A levels like you do over in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I got into a great university at Sydney Uni. And I remember in my first semester, I failed one of my subjects. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this has never happened to me before. And so I was almost like this. It was like this reality check, like, oh my God, am I going to be able to get through this? And then I remember the following semester, I did the accounting subject again, and I failed it twice, 2 semesters in a row. And so I think, and then I was like, okay, I need to get a tutor. I need to seek mentorship. And I found someone who was a cute boy that I kind of liked. And he was like, I'll tutor you. I was like, okay. It just showed me that he did tutor me and he did teach me, and I was able to pass for the 3rd time. So I think I had doubt then because I was like, am I actually cut out for this? Am I smart enough? Was I just at a school where I wasn't really surrounded by smart people? Like what was going on? So I had all that self-doubt, but I think the perseverance and then learning that, yeah, I don't know everything. Maybe I do need to seek a mentor really helped me get through that.
Well,
and so yeah, accounting. That's why I was like, you do the numbers, Josh, when I asked you how long I've lived in Australia for. ChatGPT helps me with all of that now.
Yeah.
So straight away there, I picked up on something that you did. So you, instead of wallowing in that time of failure, you focused and worked out a plan of how to overcome it. So do you think that's something you were born with, or do you think that's something you learned how to do? Like, why did you work out the plan?
Yeah, because there's so many people that probably don't.
Yeah. Well, I think if we really want to dissect it, and I've really never thought about this before, but I knew my ultimate goal was to get my citizenship to become an Australian, right? And in order to do that, I needed to get my uni degree. And so I think the goal for me was strong enough, you know, that end goal of actually getting the degree, even though I knew like halfway through that all changed. But at the time I was like, I need to get the degree so I can become a citizen, so I can live in this country. And so I think when I couldn't pass those accounting degrees, I was like, okay, like, how do I overcome this? And I don't know whether it was learnt, or it's a really difficult question for me to answer, but it was just like, I know there's people have passed this exam, so I've just got to go and find someone who's been able to pass the exam and teach me the things that
So
I
that was like the
see.
carrot. Do you think you had any like fear that like you didn't want to look like a failure, like to your parents and stuff? Was there
Oh
any?
yeah, of course, absolutely. To tell my dad that I didn't pass the degree, pass a subject, for sure, for
Did you
sure.
tell them,
Oh,
or did you just not tell them? Like, did you tell them? No.
and I did.
It's funny,
We're
isn't it?
entrepreneurs. We just figure it out.
Yeah. But it seems
Yeah.
to me like you had that entrepreneur mindset right back then, you know, because that is not something everybody would have done. They wouldn't. They
Well,
would
I
have.
think it's just being a problem solver, isn't it? It's being a
Yeah.
problem solver. And back then we didn't really have ChatGPT, or I'm even thinking, did we have Google back then, you know, to go in, or YouTube, because YouTube could have taught me how to do my accounting exam and things like that. And so, yeah, I just really had to go and, yeah, seek someone to teach me. So, yeah, problem
And you
solver.
passed.
Oh, it was so good. I still remember the feeling. Oh, I still, you know what it's like when you receive an email and you've got to open up the email and you're like, oh my God, this could go either way.
Yeah.
It's that feeling, but you know, with the more adversity you have in life, I feel like the bigger the win.
Yeah,
Right?
because then you get those
I learned
tools,
it. I
you
was
learn
like, I
those
earned
tools.
this. Yeah, and so I think, you know, sometimes it takes a while. We've got to go through so many different challenges to get somewhere, but when we do, the victory is even sweeter because of what we've had to endure along the way. And so it's simple, you know, when you look at it now, it's like, okay, it was just a accounting exam, but it's just like so many lessons you can learn through that as well.
So would you say that you're a success now?
I think success too, like when, you know, you sent me a few questions before we jumped on this podcast interview with one another. And I really feel like success is different and looks different for everyone. And I think success may even change throughout your life. Like success in, like Lloyd, my husband and I, we've had a lot of business success over the last 10 years. And now some of the things that we achieve, we don't really find successful like we did like 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so I think success to me is just being able to put my head down on my pillow at nighttime and go to sleep peacefully. And I think I've got into that point in my life now. I'm like, I am approaching my 40s. That's success to me. Like I wake up happy and I go to bed with peace of mind.
So
And
can
I
you
think
break down what it takes to get to that stage? So that would like give us the keys to success, right? If you tell us like how we can put our mind at ease and sleep at night, or how you achieve that, then if we follow that, we could be successful.
I think it boils down to doing what you love, first and foremost, doing what you love. And that may take a bit of testing and measuring along the way in terms of your career, in terms of, you know, the business that you pursue, but also sticking with it. So over the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of people come in and being like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to earn X amount of money per week, blah, 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 blah. And then they're not here 6 months later. And it really takes, you know, 3, 4 years to really, you know, really sink your teeth in something and to get good at it. And so I think firstly, it's just like do something that you love and do it with people that you love doing it with. You know, having the right business partners on board or having the right partners on board, that really helps. And then, of course, having financial peace. So making sure that you have more money coming in than you do going out. That definitely brings, you know, peace when you go to bed at night. And make sure that you don't have any conflict in your life. So I remember going to my first ever self-development event. It was like a 3-day event. We flew across the country for it, 5 hours to Perth. And one of the segments he spoke about, David T.S. Wood, who's been a major mentor for us, he was just like, if you have if you're holding on to any conflict right now, with someone, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
holding on to conflict. And at the time I was holding on to conflict with my dad, actually. And I had this picture in my mind. I'm like, oh, growing up, dad was never there. He, you know, he never came to any of my sporting events, blah, 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 blah. And as I grew up and matured and had my own business, I was just like, he sacrificed all of that to give us everything that we wanted as kids, right? Growing up. And so I had that realization, and then I was able to, you know, send him a message. And then I saw him in Dubai one time, and I told him, I was like, thank you for everything that you did for me growing up. And this is how I felt, and this is how I'm feeling now. And he was just like, yeah, it was tough for me not to be at those netball games. It was tough for me. And it's just like hearing that side of the story, you know, I just created this own story in my mind. And so I think, you know, to go back to your question, Josh, having that peace is just like removing any conflict in your life. If you have an argument with someone, be the bigger person and just be like, hey, mate, you know, I'm sorry about blah, 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 blah. Or if you're feeling angry with someone, they may not even know. And you'd be like, hey, yeah, Anna, this is, you know, you may not even know this, but you said this and it annoyed me this way. And I just needed to get that off my chest. And I feel like just getting rid of and releasing any conflict you have with anyone will definitely bring more peace to your life as well.
Yeah, that's
So
lovely.
relationships, doing something that you love in terms of career, and then obviously having more money coming in than going out would definitely create financial peace when you go to bed. And also getting a miniature dash hound, that definitely helps.
Don't say that to Josh.
Well, just ignore everything I just said and just get a miniature dash hound.
It's
so many problems in your life.
It's our daughter's favorite dog. Okay, she's obsessed with them, and Josh now wants one. I want a Great Dane. So I'm outnumbered in this house.
The only sad thing about Great Danes are they don't live long enough, and dogs don't live long enough as it is. And so that's why I'm like, they're beautiful dogs, but I can't handle the fact that they don't live too long.
No, that is true.
But then you have a short time to like really appreciate it.
Oh, it's just never long enough. Never long enough.
Okay, getting back to success. So if I said the key to happiness is living the simple life, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say if you had asked me 10 years ago or when I was living in Dubai, I would say, no, it's not about the simple life. It's about bougie lifestyle and being here and doing that and being seen here. But for me, I even said this. So my sister-in-law came over yesterday. We have shared custody with one of the other miniature dachshunds. So Elvie has a twin brother, Barkley. And so he comes over 3 times a week to play. And so she came over yesterday and I said, Super Mario, do you ever play Super Mario growing up?
Yeah.
Did you ever play All-Stars Super Mario?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay, cool. All-Stars. It's where Mario... It was when he flew. He had his little feather and he could fly. Yeah. Anyways, Lloyd and I were having a few drinks the other day and I was talking about it. I was like, oh my God, remember that game? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, Mario Kart. And so I went onto Marketplace and someone was actually selling it. They were selling the original Super Nintendo plus the game. And then for $250 or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. And then I logged onto Instagram. I hadn't bought it yet. And then I got bombarded by Instagram ads. Thank you, Instagram. Yeah. And it sold me like this little USB that has over 1,000 games on it, old school games, including Super Mario and whatnot. And I was like, that's amazing. And Lloyd's like, let me get it for you for your birthday. $77. I was like, selfish presents, gotta love them. Anyways, we ordered it. But to answer your question, the simple life, Brooke came over and I told her about it. And I was just like, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to be able to put the blinds down, put the air conditioning on, get some, you know, junk food, and we can all sit here and play together. And I was like, it really is the simple things in life. And so simple things for me now, it's as simple as that. You can just family, playing silly games, eating naughty food, hanging with the dogs, like Lloyd now. One of his favorite things to do is walk around the island. We live on an island here on the Gold Coast with our little dog. And he's like, it's just the simple things. And so to answer that, yes.
That's lovely. How do you balance, you know, running a 7-figure business, being an entrepreneur, being a super successful social media person? You know, how do you balance all of that with the simple life? You know, how do you balance your time?
Well, fortunately for us, all our businesses are online. And so we're able to, we don't have necessarily have to leave the house. We can do everything from home. So that's definitely a plus. So we've set it up that way that we can just do it from anywhere. But we say that, but we just do it from here because we live on the Gold Coast and it's so beautiful. So we don't have to travel anywhere really. But over the last few years, we've just been able to have an amazing dream team, on our side. Cacey included.
Hello.
It's all about having the right people in your life to, everyone is working in their own geniuses, and we've systemized a lot of stuff as well. And so over the years, we're just like, especially in business, but like if we're saying it more than once, a mentor once taught us this. He's like, if you're saying the same thing more than once, that needs to be either documented or recorded. And so we've always had that lesson in the back of our mind. And so we're just like, where can we systemize things? And so with this day and age and all the software that's available, we've just been able to systemize. And in terms of like social media, I batch a lot of content. I also do Lloyd's social media. And so I just batch a lot of his content. I batch a lot of my content. And so that's just like, I'll sit on the couch when I'm not feeling very like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't really want to be talking to anyone. And that's when I'll be doing all my editing and coming up with creative ideas. And then when I'm feeling like pretty, like now, like, I did my hair and my makeup for this interview. It's just like, I'm feeling good. And that's when I want to be in front of camera. And so it's kind of just like batching things. And we live by our Google Calendar, and having everything in the Google Calendar, that's just a game changer. And so in terms of balancing it all, it's like having the right people all working in their own genius, systemizing a lot of the stuff that, you shouldn't really be doing. And then what was the last one that I said? And the Google Calendar.
Google Calendar. Yeah, we live our lives with Google Calendar as well. It's so important.
Yeah, it's so important.
How important is time management to success, do you think?
Well, it's everything. It just removes time management. Like that's where stress comes from. Like I will literally leave earlier to get to an appointment because I do not want to be stuck in traffic and be late and then not being able to find a park. And so it's just like just doing little things in your life that removes or alleviates this unnecessary stress in your life. And so stress management, you're a real optimist when you think that you can leave at 8 a.m. but for your 7:30 appointment and think you're going to get there on time, but it just creates more stress in your life. And so time management is just, it's just, again, like everything will change with a digital calendar. A lot of people still use like
like a diary.
I'm going to be mean and be like the old school way of doing it. And so, and then I'll be I'll be with someone. I'm like, oh, are you free on this time? They're like, oh, I'm just going to go home and check my calendar. I'm like, why don't you just have it on your phone? You have your phone with you everywhere.
Literally,
and then you can send me the invite and whatnot. It just creates so much more ease in your life. And so just adapting today's technology really changes. Like there's lots of tools out there in terms of time management.
It took me a while to go from like a paper diary to my phone, and I think like too long really. And now if I haven't got my like if it's not in there, it's not happening. Like it's not. It's so
same as books as well. Like a lot of people love like hard copy books, like actually reading books, but they're so much more expensive than actual Kindle books. And so Kindle, like I just download Kindle on my iPhone now and I can read it off my iPhone, and the books are so much cheaper, and you can highlight stuff and add it to your notes. And so it's just, I don't know, whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah, I listen to books. I'm an audio person, so I just listen to my books. I find it just that then I can do other things and hear, and hands are free. So
I'm intrigued to find out more because we, like you said, we had a bit of I sent you some questions before this podcast, and you mentioned that you're an introvert and you like doing things like being at home and hanging out with your dog and Lloyd and stuff. And then how do you balance that with being a social media influencer and also being the person who runs the social media school, which I was part of and had huge success from? How do you balance that? Like, because you have to be in front of the camera, and, you know, talking to people and that kind of thing? Like, what do you do to balance that out?
Well, I just knew, I remember when we first started out in business, I just knew the person who held the mic made the money. Someone again said that, a mentor, they're like, whoever holds the mic makes the money. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm scared of public speaking, or if I'm scared to be seen in front of people, that's just a skill set that I need to work on. And then I remember back then, this was probably like 10 years ago, Lloyd's like, do you want to come to Toastmasters with me? Because I want to be able to improve my public speaking. And I was like, what's Toastmasters? He's like, it's basically where you go to learn how to public speak. I was like, oh no, I'm too scared to do that. He goes, that's why you go to Toastmasters. So you can learn how to overcome how to public speak. And so I was like, all right, let's go. And then I just remember going to our first meeting, and in a Toastmasters meeting, I'm pretty sure they're all the same. At the very beginning, you have to stand up individually, like in your seat, and say your name and where you're from. And I was just like, I could just feel my whole skin like boiling up, because I knew it was getting to my turn to say Alicia Fernandez from Surfers Paradise. I was like, you know, over and over in my head. I was like, you've got this, girl, you've got this. And I just remember standing up, and I had a glass of water, and then the glass of water went everywhere, and I was so embarrassed. And I was just like, when will this meeting be over? And I remember leaving that meeting, walking through the doors, and I said, I have two decisions right now. I can decide never, ever to come back, because that was super embarrassing, or I can forget that happened and come back and just keep working on my skills. And so I decided to come back, and Lloyd and I went to Toastmasters 3 times a month for 2 years, every Wednesday night for 2.5 hours. And, you know, just being able to go to Toastmasters and practice in front of a real room where people watch you, they give you, I guess, positive feedback, but they also give you areas to improve on, so that next week you can come back and get better and better and better. And I was able to, when someone asked me, we were at a network marketing event, and they were like, can you introduce the mentor, you know, the trainer of this event? And that was like a 10-minute stage piece with Lloyd, and there was like 400, 500 people in the room. And because I had put in the reps, you know,
Yeah.
the reps for 2.5 years, I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
Pooping my
that's
pants,
amazing.
but let's go. And, you know, just been from doing that, and then jumping on Facebook Lives, even though I was scared. Like, I remember my first ever Facebook Live, I made an announcement, you know, I'm going live at 7 p.m. Come and join me today, you know. And half an hour before the live, I was like running up and down this living room, like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then press let's go live. And then, you know, before you knew it, you couldn't get me off the camera. And so it's just all those little things that scared me, but I did it anyways, has allowed me to now speak. Like, I've been on stages in front of 5,000 people.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was going to say.
and
You
it
talk
all,
regularly
and
now
it
on
all,
stage.
and it all started from Toastmasters.
That's
But
amazing.
I
So
think,
anybody,
I
that
think it's a skill set. It's a skill set, and no one is great at public speaking. Everyone has either had a coach or a mentor, or they've gone to Toastmasters, or they've just practiced over and over and over again to build their confidence. And confidence, yeah, it just comes from doing the thing. And I wish I could wake up with confidence of wake up tomorrow with confidence on how to be really, really funny like Josh. But no, it's a muscle that you know you have to work on to over and over and over again. It's a skill.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think being an introvert, like I love my own time. I love enjoying being at home with my dog and Lloyd, but then I've also learned that I do need to be extroverted. And so it's almost like, you know, Beyonce, love her or hate her right now. Let's not get into that. But she's got Sasha Fierce, right? That's her identity, that when she goes on stage, she's Sasha Fierce, and she turns it on. So it's almost like this, like, I just turn it on for a little while in order to deliver what I've got to deliver.
Yeah,
And so
brilliant.
I'm introverted extrovert.
Love it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your success, for those people out there that have, you know, decided they're going to be a successful person, and they got to the stage where they're just starting that journey of your million steps that you've taken to success, what are 3 giant leaps that you could tell them that would get them really, really going on their journey towards success?
So good. 3 things. Well, the first one,
Join Toastmaster.
How did you know I was going to say that? Let's just summarize this podcast, shall we? Join Toastmasters would be the first one.
Yeah.
For sure. Because that's just where your voice is going to be heard. But especially for people that don't like talking, or they're a little bit more shy or introverted, or they prefer other people to talk and them to listen. Like, I just found my voice by going to Toastmasters because it was forced. And then in the real world, I just saw my confidence grow. I would speak up in conversations, blah, 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 blah. So number one would be join Toastmasters. Number two would be, you've got to have some sort of business to work with, to work on. So Lloyd probably spoke about it, but I would suggest join a network marketing business. If you don't have a business yet, go and find a network marketing business, because they handle all the businessy stuff, and you can work on building your skill set in marketing and sales. Because once you nail or get better at marketing and sales, you can do anything, baby. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But you've got to have a product or a service to market and sell. And so if you don't have one yet, then go and join a network marketing company around a product that you value. So that would be my second one. My third tip would be giant leap, would be to look after your health. I feel like, because without our health, we have no energy, and without energy, then we don't have motivation to go and do things. And so I'd probably put health number one. Then I would do, join a network marketing business, or have a business, and then join Toastmasters 3, because they all kind of complement each other. Yeah.
That's amazing. And also, could you tell us, for those people that don't know about social media and marketing and things like that, is there a little school that they can join?
Oh, yeah. There is a little that they can join. Social media school was born because I realized that a lot of small business owners or entrepreneurs, like, they had the skill set offline, but they didn't really know how to translate it online. And there's like billions and billions and billions and billions of people on social media. And so it's just learning the software more than anything, because I think that's what holds people up. They're like, I don't actually know how to do a live. I don't know how to do a reel. I don't know how to do this. And so that's where social media was born, because I was like, I want to actually show people the tech, because I feel like that's what's holding them back. And so, yeah, social media school is a place where I guess a business owner can go to gain their confidence when it comes to social media, and how to show up as a business owner and as a brand on social media.
And I have to vouch for this. The difference in Josh after doing your school is unbelievable. Like, he couldn't do social media.
As a measure, we went from 5,000 followers to 10,000 followers in a year, and it had taken us probably like 5 years to get that 5,000 followers.
Longer, 7 years.
Well done. But how good is that? And thank you for the compliment. But it was Josh learning and implementing. So a lot of people are addicted to learning. I'm guilty of that too. I do love learning. But he learned, and then he implemented, and then he came back to the call the next week. And he's like, I have this question, I have that question, and so he's super, super coachable. And I feel like that is a great trait of success if we're going to be talking about success on this interview. And it's just being coachable and being okay to suck. Okay, I learned this new thing today. Let me go and implement it on social media. Oh my God, it's got no likes. So what? It's the only way that you're going to get better, by doing it over and over and over again. And so, well done, Josh, for actually being
coachable and taking action.
Yeah,
it's
for
huge.
Sure, it's huge. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Alicia. You are incredible, and we love watching your journey, and can't wait to watch you be even more successful in your life.
Right back at you both. Oh my goodness.
I've got one last question for you. What's next on the success ladder for Alicia?
Well, Lloyd and I have always said that we wanted to duplicate ourselves. And so the next chapter or season.
Is she going to announce it here on the podcast?
No. Pray for us. But no, the next chapter and season in our life is to start a family. And so that's just going to bring a whole new, I guess, how do I say that? A whole new world to us.
Oh yes, a whole new world. We have been there, and we have done that, and we are doing it, and it is different. It's amazing.
So we'll check back in 5 years, and you can tell us
I might not
what it
look
is to
so
be a
radiant.
successful
Might not
mother.
look so radiant then.
You will. You'll have it. You'll yeah.
Oh my God, I appreciate you both so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you too. Thank you for your time. And we've already asked Alicia if she is successful. And she is. So that's it.
There you go. There's all your keys to success,
That's
people.
it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.